It was a sunny afternoon in Los Angeles, and the boutique clothing store, Exclusive Styles, was bustling with customers. This store was known for catering to high-end clientele and had everything from designer suits to limited edition sneakers. Among the customers browsing that day was Shaquille O'Neal, the NBA legend himself. Shaq, known for his larger-than-life personality and generous heart, was in town for an event and decided to stop by the store to pick up a few items. Standing at 7 feet 1 inch, Shaq naturally drew attention wherever he went. However, he was dressed casually that day, just a simple hoodie and jeans, so he hoped he might go unnoticed for once. Little did he know, his visit would soon become the highlight of everyone's day. As Shaq perused the racks of clothes, a group of teenagers entered the store. They looked to be about 16 or 17 years old, dressed in the latest streetwear trends, and loudly talking about their wealth. It was clear they were trying to make an impression, flaunting their designer sneakers and expensive watches. One of the teens, a boy named Ethan, seemed particularly smug. Ethan came from a wealthy family and was used to getting whatever he wanted. Spotting Shaq near the sneaker section, Ethan smirked and nudged his friends. "Yo, check out this guy," Ethan whispered, loud enough for Shaq to hear. "Who wears basic hoodies like that to a place like this? Bet he can't even afford half the stuff in here." His friends chuckled nervously, unsure if Ethan realized who he was talking about. Shaq overheard the comment, but chose to ignore it. He continued browsing, picking up a pair of sneakers that caught his eye. However, Ethan wasn't done. "Hey, big guy," Ethan called out, walking closer to Shaq. "You lost or something? This ain't a discount store, you know." The store grew quiet as other customers began to notice the interaction. The staff behind the counter exchanged uneasy glances, unsure of how to intervene. Shaq turned to face Ethan, towering over the teen by nearly 2 feet. Despite his imposing stature, Shaq remained calm. He gave Ethan a small smile and said, "I'm just here to shop, man." "Same as you." Ethan scoffed. "Yeah, right. You shopping here? Please. Bet you're just here to look around. Probably can't even afford these," he said, pointing to a pair of limited edition sneakers priced at $1,500. Shaq chuckled softly, still refusing to engage in any hostility. "You'd be surprised," he replied. Ethan's friends were starting to look uncomfortable, realizing that the man Ethan was mocking was none other than Shaquille O'Neal. One of them leaned over and whispered, "Dude, that's Shaq." Like the Shaq, but Ethan brushed it off. "Yeah, right. If he's Shaq, where's his entourage? Where's the paparazzi?" Ethan said, waving his hands dramatically. "Nah, this guy's just some wannabe, probably wearing fake sneakers too." Shaq decided he'd had enough of the disrespect, but instead of lashing out, he had a better idea. With a mischievous grin, he turned to one of the store employees and said, "Can you do me a favor and grab a shopping cart or two?" The employee, who was also a fan of Shaq, nodded eagerly. "Of course, Mr. O'Neal." Ethan's jaw dropped. "Wait, Mr. O'Neal? Like Shaquille O'Neal?" The store erupted in whispers as other customers started to recognize the NBA legend. Ethan's confidence wavered, but he quickly tried to cover it up. "Okay, fine, maybe you're Shaq. But still, why are you here dressed like that?" Shaq simply smiled and said, "Because I don't need to dress up to prove who I am. But you? Seems like you've got something to prove." With that, Shaq began walking through the store, pointing at items left and right. "I'll take these, and these, oh, and definitely those," he said, gesturing to the most expensive clothes, shoes, and accessories in the store. The employees scrambled to keep up, loading up 2 shopping carts with merchandise. By the time Shaq was done, nearly half the store's inventory was in his carts. Ethan and his friends stood frozen, watching in disbelief. Shaq walked up to the register and handed over his black card. The total came out to over $75,000, But Shaq didn't bat an eye. As the transaction went through, he turned back to Ethan and said, "You see, kid, it's not about how much money you have or what you wear. It's about how you treat people. Maybe you should think about that next time before judging someone." Ethan's face turned red with embarrassment. He stammered, I didn't mean—" Shaq held up a hand to stop him. "It's all good, man. Just a lesson for the future." But Shaq wasn't done yet. Turning to the store manager, he said, "Pack up everything I bought, but don't send it to me. I want you to distribute it to kids in need. There are plenty of shelters and youth programs around here that could use this stuff more than I can." The manager nodded, clearly impressed. "Absolutely, Mr. O'Neill. We'll make sure it goes to the right places." The entire store burst into applause, and Shaq gave a humble wave before heading toward the exit. Before leaving, he turned back to Ethan one last time and said, "Oh, and one more thing, and next time maybe keep your mouth in check. You never know who you're talking to." Ethan stood there speechless as Shaq walked out, leaving behind a lesson he would never forget. The teen's friends looked at him, shaking their heads. "Dude, you just got roasted by Shaq," one of them said, unable to hide their grin. From that day on, Ethan's attitude changed. He stopped flaunting his wealth and learned to treat everyone with respect, regardless of how they looked or what they wore. And though he'd never admit it to anyone, he secretly became one of Shaq's biggest fans. As for Shaquille O'Neal, it was just another day of spreading kindness and teaching life lessons in the most Shaq-like way possible. Share your thought in the comments below, and if you enjoyed the video, please consider subscribing to my channel. I pour my heart into crafting stories like this for you, and your support is the one helps me keep going. I appreciate having you on this journey,